everyone, welcome back to Katarina's Garage. My name is Katarina Lloyd, and today, well, I've talked about this car on the channel before. I've mentioned how I wanted to do a review of this car on the channel, but I've never actually asked the owner of this car, which she is an awesome chick, to be honest. And you know what? This car is absolutely awesome. It happens to be a 2014 Mustang GT, and really, it's got a few different modifications, like, you know, an 1.5 inch lowering kit, 2018 intake on it, and a few other things that honestly, like a VMP tune, which really makes this thing quite an animal. Like last time it was dynoed, it was 405 wheel horsepower, and since then I think a little bit extra has been done. So let's go check this thing out. And honestly, it's a beautiful car, and the mods, I think you'll really enjoy just the way this thing looks. So if we take a look here, like you'll see, I love this blue paint job, to be honest. I don't know the name of this color, but it is absolutely gorgeous. And even like checking out this hood, which it is actually, you know, a functional hood. You can see in there, right? You can see the top of the engine and stuff like that. And like really, even like just seeing, I love, this was my favorite of this one, because this was the very last year before they went to the S550 in 2015, is I really love this front end, and even like these headlights are freaking awesome. And it kind of harkens back to about, I think it was like 68 like Shelby's and stuff like that, had very similar-esque, you know, sort of thing. And even when you look at the body, you can tell like it harkens back to some of the more Shelby as opposed to, say, like a regular Mustang GT, but still, I love it. Right? And you know, even like these side skirts, they look pretty good. Car's a little dirty, but that's welcome to this time of year. It's not the end of the world, you know. And even like these louvers, right? I love louvers. Almost doesn't matter what they're on. It depends on the style of louvers, but these are really, really awesome. You know, out back, and you can see the borla tipped exhaust, which is a 4 borla exhaust, and it has one heck of a exhaust note back here. But you know, like outside, there isn't too much to talk about. Like it's got a little stickier tires and stuff like that, which I probably won't be doing full throttle in this car, only because of it's a little colder out, and these tires will spin 100%. And I haven't driven this thing much. Last time I drove it, it was about 25, maybe 30 degrees outside, and it was the middle of summer. But if we take a look, like even inside, and I'll show you the engine in a, oh yeah, right. Anyways, yeah, now that I've unlocked the car this time, let's take a look inside, and like you can see of how sporty it is in here. Like look at these seats, of how much they just hug you, right? And they're actually pretty comfortable, to be honest, to go down. And now like when you take a look even how everything is just integrated, and especially for the driver, it really makes a big difference in a performance car like this. And Ford thought about a lot. Now, because this is a, because it's a 2014, like this still has the, it's a 6-speed automatic, if I remember correctly. Not the 10-speed, that didn't come out till later, in the S550 generation. But, you know, you have all your, you know, buttons on the steering wheel. It's not too many, to be honest. This is more than enough. But, let's, like, and even, like, seeing, honestly, even this cool little center console thing here, right? Just to say Mustang on it. That's this kind of chrome sort of thing. It looks really, really cool. And, you know, it's got this awesome, like, panoramic roof. That, like, so it's just a pure glass roof. And, which, you know, it's not for everybody, but I do kind of enjoy them. And now, if you want to sit in the back, well, you're kind of not really going to fit back there very well, but you can, honestly. You can... You'd be surprised what you can fit back there. But anyways, let's start this thing up here. So here we go. Just have the key here. Should just be able to. And you just listen to that noise. Just as soon as the startup happens, it is one heck of an exhaust note here. You know, and as it starts to, you know, because it's not fully warmed up yet, but, you know, it's definitely just one killer note. And actually, what I'm going to do here really quick is rev it up for you. So just give me one moment. So now listen to how this thing sounds when it's revved. Yeah, just one hell of an exhaust note. Like, you feel it in your chest when this thing revs out like that. It is absolutely incredible to hear these things. When they have a proper exhaust like that, they are really, really loud. And it's just very, very cool. And, you know, it's interesting because you're seeing less and less of these late ones. You're seeing more of the earlier S197s. But if we take a look under the hood, it's actually really cool under here. But yeah, so if you take a look under the hood, you'll see, you know, this 5-liter Coyote. And you'll see with some of the stuff done, like you can see this intake here, you know, that it's really, really big old intake. And you even see, you know, to stick with the blue theme, she's done all of this wire loom like that, all in blue, which looks fantastic. And this happens to be, you know, a Cervini hood, which is awesome. I even love, you know, even just the for the rad for the overflow, right, where how you fill it. These are freaking awesome. All of these, you know, for oil, that's for rad fill, and that. Even see this is a oil catch can here. Honestly, this is the stuff you really kind of want to see, and it's so cool. I really, really dig this car. And you know, but anyways, even like these Foose wheels, you know, they're usually not my style, but they really work on this car. Because normally, yes, I am more into the vintage stuff, but I can still really appreciate these modern classics. But anyways, let's see about getting this thing on the road and seeing how it goes. All right, so let's go take this thing down the block here, actually, because like I said, I've only driven this thing once, and it's got more mods now than I think it did back then. So let's see how it goes, because this was over a year ago now. But all right, handbrake isn't on. All right. Oh yeah, you can tell just how much it just wants to go. And oddly enough, to a certain degree, it's similar to my 81 in that regard, but it's just the way I have my tune, to be honest. But this is going to be the same, similar in that regard. And yeah, like even just something that I have to get used to in modern cars, it's just the way they brake and stuff like that too. And even just the size of this thing, because it is a fairly... That is so much fun, you know, and just hearing that exhaust tone, right? And that was like maybe 8 throttle, to be honest. Like, this thing is fast, and it's just a super fun car. Because yeah, I would like to get it out of some of these streets, if I can find my way out of here. But honestly, very, very fun cars these are. And yeah, because the one thing is, the S197, like this is the, being a 2014, it's the last year of this body style before they went to the S550, which the S550 has an independent rear suspension. This is a live rear axle, like every Mustang prior to this, excluding, there was like the SVT Cobra Rs and a couple others that had independent rear suspensions, but this, you know, doesn't. So, and it's still very much a raw car that way. So these, you know, don't have, like, they do have a little bit of nanny aids here and there, but this might be, some of them might be disabled on this. And that's kind of what I've been told. And these things, like, I can see why in this generation that people would actually potentially have issues driving these cars if they're just not used to, like, the power and stuff like that, because these are quite fast. And with a live rear axle, because the one thing is, if you don't know what a live rear axle is, it's that so like an independent rear suspension, the suspension moves separately on each side with the axle, compared to a live rear axle where the suspension is moving as one sort of piece with the axle. So, and actually, because I just want to get this on the highway, yeah. And yeah, and I do have a passenger in here, but he's requested not to be on camera as much, so that's all good. You know, and if you saw him in the video, well, sorry. You know, and it's just like, even just how everything feels. And it's, to be honest, like even with my Fox bodies, you know, because that's what I roll in usually. Like, I have a daily driver, 81, and then I have my 86. But this, like, has some stuff that feels sort of similar to that. Granted, much more upgraded that way. it's just one of these things that when you're driving a car like this, because yeah, and it's just, I'm not used to the power, and when you're in a car that is much faster than what you normally drive, you don't want to just go full throttle almost ever. You kind of want to test the throttle to see how it's going to act and stuff like that, because like I have, you know, with these tires and stuff like that, they're a harder sort of tire, so, and it's a little cooler outside, not cold, but a little cooler, so it does actually make it so that these tires don't have a lot of traction. You know, and it's really fun just to burp that throttle like that. And I think I made the turn there, hold on. You know, I can figure it out. And now, because the one thing is, this thing has louvers on the back window, or on the quarter windows, so visibility out of it is not great because of that, but for the most part it's not too bad. You know, you've got the bigger glass and stuff like that in this car, and you know, all the way around, it's a little tight, it feels like, in here, but it's more similar to like a sort of sporty, not quite race car, but similar feeling to that, you know. And these things, like, they really do rip, like I mentioned, you know, because like I said, doing that, it's only like 1/8 of the throttle that I'm doing there, right? It's not very much, you know, because even if I do just a little more than that, and that's not even full throttle, like, at all. Just doing that was maybe 80% throttle, which is just incredible, because I was trying not to do full throttle for obvious reasons. But you know what? This is kind of nice out here. This is not too bad. Oh yeah, see, now that's full throttle, and just how much these things actually rip, right? It's just, I don't really know what else to say, because it's just a fun feeling doing that. And with these Coyotes, because they are overhead cams and stuff, like these are a quad overhead cam, if I remember correctly, and you know, out of the box they produce, I'm trying to remember the exact power numbers, okay, so about 420-ish, 430, give or take, horsepower out of the box. This one to the wheels, last it was done, and again, it had a little bit of issues like clogged cats at the time, so it was actually on the dyno produced 405, so it's probably closer to like maybe 420 wheel, give or take, with how it is now, and you can feel it. It's quite fast, and honestly, I love the way even like this interior looks, to be honest. It is quite the unit. And this car, because the other one that I've driven happens to be a 2020 California Special, and how that felt compared to how this feels. This is a lot more raw compared to the, you know, that 2020 GT California Special. That had the 10-speed, had a little more traction, because this thing even just slightly, even going down the road, broke a little bit loose when I did pin it there. But, you know, it's quite fun. And I prefer cars that are a little more like this, that don't quite as much handhold you. Now, compared to the S550 though, this, not quite as comfortable, but pretty comfortable, to be honest. Like, I could take this thing on decent road trips or whatever else, but if I was going to take a road trip car, it would definitely be an S550 over the S197. As for, you know, but like, if I wanted to take a car on a track or whatever, I'd much prefer this, because yes, you do have to, like, you have to be a driver for this type of car, right? And compared to, you know, the S550, where it has a lot more nanny aids, and I think they're even a little bit wider of a vehicle too, and plus with that 10-speed, honestly, it just makes a big difference. But they are actually, the S550 is faster, just with different gear ratios and stuff like that, similar engines, but yeah, because like this one, one of the big key points of this is having a 2018 intake on it, which is just, honestly, it flows a lot better than what this did. And apparently that is the mod, or one of the mods to do to one of these cars. And it's just very much fun. And, you know, and I was hoping I was going to get the opportunity to film this car, because unfortunately, won't see this car for quite a while just due to their moving. So, and it's kind of sad because I love seeing this car around, but that's just how it goes. And yeah, I just really love this experience though. And like, to be honest, it's a fairly comfortable car, even with that 1.5 inch drop on the suspension. It's not bad. You know, I would have expected this thing maybe to ride a little more like a brick board, and it does have a little bit of that to it. Like, this going on a longer journey, I'd have a little bit of troubles with. It'd still be reasonably comfortable, but not where I would fully like it. But even like my 81 Mustang, it's got, you know, stiffer seats in it and stuff like that, similar to this, so that hug you just like this does. So I'm used to that. You know, and like overall, what do I think? Honestly, I love it. And the Mustangs themselves, because I've driven a few now, a few different generations. I've never driven a 1st gen nor 2nd gen, but I've driven multiple Fox bodies, which is the 3rd gen. I've driven a couple of new edges, or maybe just one. Yeah, because no, I never drove the red one, and I think I only drove the 2nd Shadow one. I never drove the 1st one. And you know, and then I've driven the S550 and now this S197. So, you know, all I'm really missing is the SN95, a 1st gen, and a Mustang 2, which is pretty cool. And now, actually, there's the S650 that I'm not sure if it's quite out yet, but it's, you can order them for sure. And, yeah, no, just very, very fun car. And let's just do it one more time. You know, and it's just straight line speed, and it's really fun. And like, it's interesting because when you do pin it, because I know what's going on with that. So when I just pinned it there, it's doing like a bit of a kick down, basically similar to the carbureted car, but it's just what it's actually doing. It's trying to downshift, and because I don't believe it's not even a dual clutch automatic. This is like a traditional style automatic, being the 6-speed. So it's got, you know, your typical torque converter and stuff like that in it, where it does need a little bit more time to actually, you know, shift in the gear and stuff like that. But yeah, and actually, maybe next one. You know, I'll just try and turn around here because getting a little further out. But you know, it's nice because open roads like this are fun to kind of, you know, go down because there's not a lot of traffic. You can have a little more fun and stuff like that. And that's why, like, I didn't want to do too much in town for obvious reasons. You know, there's a lot of traffic around and stuff like that. You know, it's just something that you don't really want to deal with. And I want to find a proper road, not a dirt road. For obvious reasons with these tires, because these are, because they're, you know, a much, right now they're quite hard because, you know, the tires should be a little warmer now, but still not. These are the style of tires that you'd normally like do a sort of burnout with before you do a pass or anything to get the traction back in them. So, and yeah, like, and even honestly, like how this steering wheel feels is quite nice. I do like it. The materials it's made out of and everything, it doesn't really feel like, because a lot of modern cars are like quite uncomfortable. And okay, I will, once that car goes by, I'll whip it around. But, and even like going down a road like this, because I don't want to go very fast down a road like this, but it's not that bad. Even with the lowering springs, which again, it's a little more bouncy because of that, but overall, it's really not that bad. You know, I'm kind of surprised by that because this is a very, very bumpy road. Now, yes, would I want to take this thing down a bump, like a road like this? No, almost never. But it's a good thing. Like, if you're getting, you know, a sort of performance car like this, you might want to actually drive it down roads like this, just in case if you come across that sort of thing of where you have to do that, right? Now, the one thing is, because you can't really see out this back window too well, but there we go. That's the only downside to this specific car, and it's not that it's the S197 for that. That's just the modifications that's been done to this one with the louvers and stuff like that. Because where the louvers that I have on my car, it does not really blind you as much out the back window, but it's also because of the rake of this back window that you do not get quite as much. But louvers are nice because they not only look good, but they also provide a really nice thing of blocking out some of the sunlight, you know? And yeah, and I'm sure many of you would like me to, you know, just pin around this corner, but I'm not going to, because again, I don't know this car very well, and I don't want to do that, but, you know, but you can tell, like, oh yeah, she definitely wants to, but, you know, like, and that really pins you like that. It's just super, super fun, right? But, you know, and so, like, what do I overall think of the car? Honestly, if I was gonna take a modern Mustang, you know, out of all of them so far, because again, I haven't driven like the early SN95s, but I've driven the, you know, basically everything else so far, and I haven't driven an early S197 yet, because they started in 2005, went to 2014. The S550 after this went from 2015 to 2023, I think, or 22. But yeah, and then, you know, this might be the one that I might actually go after, even though it's got a lot more of the, like, it's a lot more creature comforts than what I'm usually used to. But, you know, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's fun, and that's the one thing that, if you're buying a Mustang, you want it to be fun, and that's how these are, and a lot of them are. And even, like, some of the, even, you know, when the EcoBoosts are put in these, whatever else, they can be quite fun as well. You don't necessarily have to have the V8, but you don't get that noise out of the EcoBoost, nor do you get quite that much pull. Like, you can build them to kind of do that, but out of the box, because this one, yes, it does have a tuner and everything, but it would still feel very similar to that and really pin you in your seats like this does. Because, yeah, this is one of those cars that, if you've ever heard of people doing like the $20 trick where you put 20 bucks on the dash and you pin it and they have to try and grab it. If they can grab it, they can keep it. This is a car that could do that, it feels like. So, honestly, very, very fun, and really just an awesome, awesome experience driving this car. It's, you know, so far, it might be one of my favorites that I've driven so far. Because I've driven a few different cars. You know, like, I prefer, you know, the more raw cars. Although, if you saw my review, which wasn't my best review, I will fully admit, of the Supra, it was super raw, and the problem was, I didn't really fit in it. I am just under 5'10", and I couldn't wear a helmet in that car. Now this, I could put on a helmet. I've got loads of headroom, to be honest, and it's fantastic that way. Your driving position is nice, it's not too stiff, and it's not quite so loose that, you know, you don't have confidence in your ass staying in the seat as you go around a corner. So yeah, definitely a very, very, very fun experience this was, and I can't wait to show you guys what's coming next, because, you know, this is one of those things that I don't get that many opportunities to review cars, you know. But if you do happen to have anything you want me to review, and I'll review just about anything, let me know. I'd love to. Now I prefer, you know, stuff that, like, you know, Mustangs or even old muscle cars or whatever, but depending on what it is, you know, I might go for it. Try your luck, you never know. I don't just want to review new cars, because, like, there's a review that's coming up that I'm going to be doing on a, I can't remember if it's 76 or 77 Cosworth Vega. So, and that's a very raw car. It's got manual steering, manual brakes, that sort of thing. Doesn't even have limited slip, right? Where this does. So, you know, it's limited slip basically means when you hit the throttle, both rear tires spin at the same time. You know, with minimal slip. That's why it's called limited slip. So, yeah, but anyways, I really hope you guys did enjoy this video, because I know I definitely did enjoy filming it. Now, it's too bad that there wasn't, like, super windy roads around here, but there really isn't. This is, you know, near Airdrie, so there's not much. It's mostly straight roads around here. You know, like, if this was out in Sundre, different story. I could take out a few miles west and really enjoy it. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this, and if you did, please like the video, comment anything you want to see down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as well, if you want to contact me at you can do so at Katarinas.garage on Instagram or Katarinas Garage on Facebook. As well, follow me at TikTok at Katarinas.garage as well. Anyways, hope you're staying safe during COVID-19. Good luck with everything you're working on, and I'll catch you in the next video.